Okay, let's shift gears here and let's get into our interview for the day. And before we do that, we want to thank our sponsor, another sponsor, and that is Thirdsy, the nighttime collagen recovery drink that is going to do wonders for your sleep and your
Mhm.
recovery. It does not have melatonin in it. It is not habit forming. It tastes great. It has GABA, L-theanine, a bunch of ingredients in there that are designed to or included to help calm your central nervous system, help promote deep and lengthy sleep. I absolutely love it. I take it every night. And as I've said a million times, don't get enough sleep, but the sleep that I do get is now of much higher quality thanks to Thirdsy. You can check them out by either scanning the QR code on your screen or go to thirdsy.com and use our code, same one as before with Creatures of Habit,
Mhm.
TEF, and you will also save 20%. So, as far as your
Yeah.
dietary needs are concerned, this show has that
We got
covered.
you
You're
We got
covered.
you.
instant meals, better sleep. You got both
Yep.
today's show,
That's pretty much all you need
Bada
at this
bing, bada
point.
boom.
more or
Yeah.
less.
I unlocked a Thirdsy use this past weekend because
Oh,
I went to a concert on Saturday, w
oh,
with one of my best friends from growing a long time,
yeah.
and you know that feeling after a concert.
Tommy.
Oh.
Oh, we lost Tommy. Okay, now he's back. All right. That feeling. Okay, let's bring him back in. We lost
Oh,
you.
we
That
lost me
feeling
here.
after a concert. That's what we
Oh,
Yeah,
lost you
yeah.
what's
with.
the feeling?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
feeling after a concert where, like, you're on that high and you can almost, like, feel the amplifiers, like, coursing through your veins. There's, like, that
Yep.
buzz.
A younger me knows that feeling.
Yep, I don't know, Sean. I feel like if you went to a Less Than Jake concert, you'd
Actually,
walk
they were
away.
in Santa Cruz last night and I didn't go.
Wow.
That's yeah, I would
Why?
because it was late and I just still I have got it's just not
Uh,
it's a lot of effort.
That's
it's a
fair.
weeknight. Yeah.
I've seen them like 10 times. So,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I basically came home from the concert. I, like, could not wind down. I was just, like,
yeah.
all hopped up on Mountain Dew and just, like, awesome show, and, I was like, "You know what? I think I'm gonna take maybe a little extra dose
Just
of
a little extra.
The
Thirdsy."
double scoop, the double
Yeah,
scoop. Let's
yep,
go.
and, oh boy, that, like, I could, like there was, like, a point where I was like, took a deep breath. I'm like, "Oh, okay. The buzzing's gone.
Good.
Like, my ears aren't ringing, and I'm good." And then I was out, and I slept great. When I usually sleep like garbage after concerts.
Yeah, I do too.
Mhm.
Thirdsy.com, the code is TEF. You will save 20%. Our interview for today is with Sam Belliveau. Sam is a strong woman who is the four-time Canada's strongest woman, just won that competition. She is going to be competing at the Rogue Invitational. And if you have watched the strong woman competition before, and the last experience I had with it was back in March at the Arnold Strongwoman Classic, where the women competed on the same stage as the men, as they have been doing for a couple of years now at the Arnold Classic. It was a blast. There were great characters, great moments. The Denny Stone carry, I remember that. It was like every one woman after another was putting up these huge numbers. It was really an awesome competition, and I'm looking forward to seeing them in Scotland. So Tommy and Lauren spoke with Sam Belliveau earlier today. Here is their interview with her. All right, we welcome in now our very special guest, Sam Belliveau. She is competing in the first ever strong woman competition at the Rogue Invitational. Sam, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm doing ecstatic. I just hosted an extremely big event this weekend. I was just surrounded by strongman fans and athletes, and I'm excited to head to Scotland to be performing and showcasing myself.
And let's dive into that. You just mentioned you're hosting a big event. Can you give us a little insight into what it was and maybe
Yeah.
what the vibe and feel is of a strong man, strong woman event like that?
Yeah, so my partner and I are owners of Strongman Corp Canada here. So we are the largest only federation in Canada. We have we had 175 athletes this weekend battling from 18 weight class. We have adaptives to teenagers to masters, and we just brought everyone from the country together in my hometown, which made it a little bit more special. Lots of lobster traps, and we had some lobster dinners, and it was just like a really cool weekend all together. It turned out great, a lot of PRs, national records, and such. And now I'm dialed back in as of yesterday, and then 24 or 23 days to Rogue.
That sounds like the atmosphere that, I mean, whether you're a strongman, strongwoman competitor or fan, that you want to be a part of.
Exactly.
How long have you been hosting that event?
So Max and I have been we came out with this federation, or we started this federation 4 years ago, right in the mid of COVID. Actually, we knew the sport didn't have to stop because we all had to come still together, and it was just kind of part of who we were, like traveling, seeing our friends competing. Same thing as it comes for CrossFit athletes. You know, we do train alone all year, but it's always fun to come together. So comes 2020, we're like, let's do it. So we created Strongest Women in Canada, and I've been able to obtain the title 4 years now. So Friday night we do Friday night under the lights, kind of like you guys. So Strongest Women in Canada final happens, and then Saturday we have the 160 amateurs go through the same 5 events. So yeah, we've been just kind of growing the sport here in Canada, and it's so cool. Especially cool to be part of another side of things where I can go to Rogue and represent my country, and it just means so much more for me when I have all these athletes under me looking up to.
That's amazing. Congratulations on the 4-time strongest woman in
Thank
Canada.
you.
That's an awesome honor. But also, it's important, I think, to note that you're creating opportunities for other people, right? You
Hmm.
mentioned the 150, 160 amateurs that got to go through and do those same events. Um, is it something that you've always felt like a sense of responsibility to help develop the sport or grow the sport in your home country, or is it something that's been more recent? We've seen strong women come to the forefront more so in the last year or so. And
Hmm.
I'm curious where you feel your role is in trying to find the next generation of athletes.
That's a really good question, and I've actually never had this come through, but I've been in male-dominated sport my whole life. Like I'm a tomboy, 100%. You know, those like the roars and stuff. Like I used to do that with my cousins in the backyard when we were playing soccer, and like I've just always been such a tomboy. I've played sports my whole life, so playing hockey, I had to stick up for myself. Like the ponytail was not a thing back when I was younger. Now it's grown to be such larger. We have professional hockey players now, which was not a thing. So I feel like I've always had a sense of like showing up for the women's, whatever you want to do. I was a linesman and a referee, but like, like a linesman, men is in the name of the title of what we're doing, strong man, right? I mean, it's been very hard, especially because of now with social media, and there's so many people out there that judges and stuff. But my duty, and I figured this out a couple years ago. I think when I was given this task as a woman in strongman, it's like keep showing up for the women's that need a place, that need a sport, that need a feeling of fulfillment, whatever it is. Like I've played numerous sports with guys, and I've always just kept showing up because I knew I could, hold my ground and hold my own to eventually have a women's division now, which you see across the board, across any sport. There's so many awesome divisions now, like, or so many sports with a women's division, which I think is great because back in the day, 200 years ago, we were fighting just for a spot at the Olympics. So it's cool to see the growth in the women's, and that's my duty.
What do you think that biggest challenge is then when it comes to whether it's educating people that women are now doing strong woman or you can get involved with it? It's not just a man's sport. What are some of the challenges that you face communicating that and getting more women involved?
Of course, because we're still fighting the stigma of like looking for that model on the cover of the magazine. I grew up, my mom had covers or magazine comes in every week or every month, and it was like thin, super thin,
Mhm.
salad for breakfast, salad for lunch. So I always grew up with that stigma. Like it's crazy to think, and like knowing that you can create your own sense of beautiful, knowing you can create your own sense of like who you want to believe, who you want to actually truly be, is something that it's come with a lot of work. But like I think with like just trusting yourself, trusting the people that love you, that believe in you, and that you're always doing something not only for everyone but for yourself. So strongman, it's super intimidating because of the name. I think it comes with a little sense of like, of course it's not for women's, but like we just gotta just keep showing up for everyone, and posting it out there that like Yeah, we have a place. Yeah, it's badass seeing women pulling 500 pound, 600 pound deadlifts and walking with these crazy implements. And I think it's just a little stigma that still stick around out there, and we'll get through it. I think it's just by keep showing up. Like I think right now we're breaking that barrier, and that's why I'm showing up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That kind of touches on what my next question was going to be is do you feel like the tide is turning? Because we come from a CrossFit background primarily, and we have
Mhm.
seen that some of those stigmas start to fall by the wayside, whether it's just women picking up a barbell
Yeah.
or doing something other than just, sitting on an elliptical or going for runs and cardio and things like that. And we see it in the gym, the mom, the grandma, the daughter starting to realize, oh, this is a pursuit I actually genuinely enjoy.
Yeah.
And on the strong woman side, do you start to see that kind of blossom a little bit as well in recent memory?
Yeah, I honestly, it's so cool because I just started 3 classes of CrossFit. It's more like a functional training, and it's for women's only. But I cross a lot with strongman because obviously it's
Nice.
what I do. So we have like extremely smaller, sandbags, dumbbells, logs, and so I cross over with strongman and CrossFit in my classes, and it's crazy how the women's love it. Like they just absolutely enjoy picking up something heavy and putting on top of an, a platform, or they go home and they just feel so empowering. And I think that's something that people just need to realize is that like moving weights is just physically and mentally making you so much of a better person, because now you can conquer emotions that you were maybe not used to being able to conquer. And I think that's my biggest thing is that I've lost so many people in my life. I feel like I've lost so many loved ones by tragedies, deaths, and if it wouldn't be for the barbell now, like I wouldn't really know how to deal with my emotions. Like it's truly put me such like of a hard soul of like everything happens. It's not always going to have an answer right away, but you just got to keep showing up for yourself and making yourself better emotionally for what's coming up in life, and that just trickles on into everything else. So
Mhm.
if
Yeah.
that makes
I
sense.
love that.
Yeah.
No, that does make sense. And I think it's so important to have spokespeople like you in the community driving that narrative forward. And now you get to be part of the new format, new division that's happening at the Rogue Invitational and new venue. Were you part of some of the conversations that were happening behind the scenes, whether it was with Rogue specifically, or maybe just the other competitors in the division of like what this could really turn into?
Yeah, so obviously last year we had the shot to be on the pro stage at the Arnold. I think we made so much noise, we knew it was coming. Like the live stream was crazy about the women's, and also like the fans. Like even just this year when I went out for my world record, I don't kid you not, these 5,000, 6,000 people elevated me off my feet. And I was like, women, like we're changing something. Like they are actually here for the women. And at first there was a lot of talks about like, do we have a place? I'm not gonna, I'm not saying all 10 other guys are 100% okay with us being there competing, right? There's always gonna be talks about like, have you guys worked hard for your spot with us? We are the strongmen, right? Like we have the spotlight, and we're still breaking barriers. We're still, showing up and making sure that people know we're here. But I knew back at the Arnolds, I'm like, something's cooking, girls. Like they have to bring us to Texas. At first, it was Texas, right? So,
Yeah.
and then yeah, when I got my invitation, I just blacked out for a minute, and then when I woke up, actually, I was in the middle of a workout, and I remember just like turning probably so in the middle of like rush hour at the gym, and I'm looking for Max, and I'm like, where is he? And then anyway, it was so great. But and then I'm like, we are part of the change, we are part of the movement, we are part of like the growth of the sport. That's intimidating by some. A lot of people do think we're intimidating, and we but I think it's great that we're taking part because it just makes absolutely sense. We work just as hard, we put in just as much time, and I think it's just going to be so cool to see CrossFit and Strongman both sets compete all weekend. It's going to be quite a weekend.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the competition, and we got bits and pieces of it in the years leading up. Whether it was the Rogue Record Breakers moments that we got to see with whether it was like the Dinny Stones and Skinny. I can't remember her name. The first woman to pick up the Dinny Stones, and I think
Yeah, Chloe Brennan.
Chloe Brennan. Yes, that I remember seeing that and the place just popping off and being like, oh my gosh, yeah, there is something here, And it is cool to see, as you mentioned, something that has helped you process so many emotions and things, maybe on not necessarily positive, right? As an outlet for you to help
Mhm.
process things. Now turn around and give you some really cool moments. And I want to touch on the Sear dumbbell record that you hold, 185 pounds. You did it twice. You're the only woman to put it over your head. You did it twice. Tell me what that moment was like, knowing that you're doing something that no one else has done, and getting to channel that emotion and like take us back to that moment. Because if people want to watch, it is on your Instagram, and it's
Mhm.
just freaking awesome.
It's awesome.
Honestly, I like take me back any day. But uh, so after I was one of the last one or one of the first ones to go, so I kind of had like a set plan on like what dumbbell to go out there and hit first. I also wanted to go feel the crowd, feel the judge, feel the set. So I didn't right away go to the world record. I'm like, okay, let's go through 175, have a good rep out there, and then you get another shot because it was like accumulating points and what. So when everyone went, I kind of saw where everyone was. You can't add too much weight to a dumbbell. It is such a technical, hard lift. And I knew, okay, when my second time around came around, I'm like, you hit this for a double, definitely it's in your pockets. And I knew. So when I come out, Max had a plan. He's like, you look down after that second rep. If there's more than 10 seconds, you hit it for a third. If not, we walk away. So honestly, it felt so light. Like I can't even, like the crowd helped me so much. It was like I could have done 200 for a double that day, and I'm not just saying that. Yeah,
Damn.
let's go Rogue. But yeah, so it was honestly the best moment of my life, like in a strength sport, like in strongman, and it changed. It gave me so much belief. And again, this is what empowers women to keep doing shit. It's like we keep showing up. We get moments like this. It's like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna keep showing up. Like you want to bring me to Rogue, I'll put on a fucking show because you guys gave me the fans. You guys gave me the good positive energy, and it's making this like really rough prep so worth it. We show up, you guys appreciate it, and it's like these moments are like so goddamn special. It's cool.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And I remember showing that highlight to a few people at my gym, like a couple of the dudes in my 430 class that I go to, and I'm like, hey, how much do you think you put overhead with one arm? They're like, oh, I don't know. And I show them that, and they're like, damn, that's freaking awesome. And it's like it's cool that there's also a place too where people can just honor and respect feats of strength like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it didn't always exist. Maybe it
Mm-hmm.
did in the old world, but in very selective groups. But now there are people that can mentally be like, that is crazy, and give credit where credit's due. And I think that's only the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
How
That's
did you
awesome.
realize that that was something that you would excel at?
Honestly, it's like I was stubborn with it at the beginning. Like I was pretty decent right from the get-go, and then in 2020, yeah, in 2020, I went to the Arnold at the record breaker, tried to hit with, I had Donna, Andrea Thompson, and Des Filthy, and Trishan Rhodes, Christian with me on the platform. We were all trying to hit the 175, and I missed it. I missed 165 in the back. I was so upset because I didn't have the same dumbbell. So mine was a little different, and it was just I was getting close to it. But anyway, so Arnold 2020 record breaker was a disaster. I went back home. I was in a freak accident not long after. A 250-pound axle fell on my pelvis, and it really bruised a lot of my pelvis. And I just 6 months ago now just got better. So
Oh
it's
my
been a long
God.
road to recovery, but ever since then, I had to completely change my technique. I had to completely change myself as an athlete. Like, it's not just about showing up and lifting weights anymore for me. It's about showing up, proper form, proper warm up, proper technique, proper everything for me to be able to excel in XYZ lifts. And those little percentages of everything you do every day. And I just started drilling that in every technique, everything I did. And then dumbbells started like increasing, and Max is like, girl, you're getting strong. And I'm like, thanks. And then he's like, okay. And then I hit the Canadian record at 160. Um, and then we just started building. And then when Arnold announced a max or max dumbbell. I was like, oh, we're gonna put something crazy. And so, but my max dumbbell in the gym is 198 pounds. I did that last year in the gym for a qualifier. But I know I could hit 200. I'd like to, before finishing my career, my goal is 100 kilo. So, yeah.
It's a good goal.
That's awesome. Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Mhm.
I'm curious, kind of touching on the sport and the training in general, because you mentioned some huge numbers there, and you also mentioned that you didn't have that exact same dumbbell, but it seems like with companies like Rogue and the popularity of the sport, like access to training and implements and strong man, strong woman, like equipment is just much more common. What is it? What is it about the training and specifically that you think most people get wrong or is misunderstood? And I say that as people who might be listening to this and could be interested in maybe getting into it at some point.
Like the misconception about strongman is that like you have to be a freak of nature to do it. You have to be strong
Mm.
and big and meat and tattooed and like this is the new strongman, and like we have beginners class of strongman. You can start with like so much weight, so much little weight, as much as you want. But the big thing about strongman is that it carries over to life. Your farmer's walk or your grocery bags, you're picking up
Mhm.
atlas stones and sandbag, or picking up your grandkids from the floor, and then et cetera, et cetera. Your overhead log could be you putting up something on top of your cupboards in your kitchen. It's just things that people like. I always say this to like the new kids that are coming in. I'm like, this is just gonna help you grow older better, and then you'll just be more badass because you're a strongman. But I'm like, it carries over to so much, and that's what I think a lot of is. And I say this over and over, but my master women's, like, we have a great group, and they're just so badass because they literally are like transforming into women's that they didn't even know that exist inside of them, because 20, 40 years ago it was like you go home, you clean, you cook, you do your things. Now they can actually have time. They take the time to go to the gym and build on themselves, and then now they get home, and if they're emotionally, they can be in a very different rough relationship. They'll actually stand up for themselves, and it just starts to build characters in women, and that's kind of like the whole part. It's just about strongman is really great in the gym, but it carries over emotionally and physically wider than just the gym.
When
As
you
you
look
mentioned
at
that, I just realized like
okay.
my mind went there. I had to pick up. So my wife and I are about to have our first kid, and we got like our stroller car seat combo in this gigantic box. And
Oh
now
boy.
I squatted down and like basically picked it up like it was a stone.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think of that. And you saying that
Yeah.
registered. So 100%. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you're looking at the growth of the sport and trying to get more people involved, you're from Canada, primarily hockey players. You yourself have a strong hockey background. Where are you seeing people coming from? Is it those athletes that, retire from hockey and want to get involved in something else? Or is it even teenagers that are just looking for a different sport or vertical?
Honestly, there's such a big wide of athletes, which I think is what makes strongman very unique. We can have people that were gamers their whole life, and then they're like, I need a little bit more of a community physically. They'll start getting started into strongman. Like, the thing is that strongman is a very welcoming community. You can go watch your first strongman show and be like, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of people screaming at me, making like, being there for me. And it could be like a 5 pound PR or a 20 pound PR. The community comes together, and I think that's what really is really cool. We do have athletes obviously coming back from after university. They're done football, they're done hockey. They do need a sport that's a little bit more static, or not as static like powerlifting, just more movements like our sport. And that's kind of why, like, when I started powerlifting, I didn't know about strongman before. I did powerlifting for 2 years, and I was like, this is kind of boring. Like, So then, yeah, when I started strongman, it was like, oh, no shit, this is for me. So just moving and stuff. So, but what's cool is that actually we have a variety of everywhere, every type of athletes. You know, and that's what makes our sport super unique and fun.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I asked you about the training in particular, and you gave a great answer. And I want to ask the same thing about competing and the sport in general, particularly on the women's side. Is there anything that people may not know about the sport that they get wrong or is misunderstood about what it takes to be, a pro strong woman or compete at a high level there?
Yeah, like there's a big gap, and it's just like the CrossFit world or bodybuilding. There is a big jump when it comes to an amateur to pro athlete. Even just being a Canadian pro to international professional, it takes a long time. People want it now. It takes so much time. Like strongman, it's hard on your tendons, ligaments. If you're not healthy, if you grow too quick, if you start training at RPE 10 for way too long, you're gonna fall off. You're gonna disappear. You're gonna get hurt. Getting back from injuries suck. It does suck general because we have to go back to work. Or well, I own a gym. It's different, but 99% of the people that do strongman have to go at their desk job or they have to go back to their whatever job it is on Monday. So we do know how really dangerous our sport can be, but you have to also take the proper step to get your form in check. Make sure that you have a coach, you have a team. Those things can go a long way. You just gotta take the sport more seriously than it could be, than it should be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Sometimes it sounds right in French in my head, and then I'm like, okay, why not be this way?
No, it's good. It's good.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Is there something that you're most looking forward to for Rogue, specifically because of the location? Like, have you done any travel searches that you'll make a little bit of extra time on the back end of your trip to explore?
Yeah, I'm super excited. Scotland is a very unique strongman location. It's already sold out. Like, it speaks for itself. I think we're going to have a crazy fan base. I also can't believe that I didn't get the same, but I also got pretty much the same invite as Tia Claire. So that means that I'm pretty much cool now, and I'm okay with
Oh, I love
I,
it.
I
love it.
honestly, I am such a big CrossFit fan. Like, I follow each and single every athlete, and I just think truly their dedication and their sport is extremely incredible. And for us to be part of it on the other side of, we're doing two total opposite sport, but it's just so badass that we can come together in Scotland, surrounded by fucking rocks and cute cows and a lot of good people, and just throw it all down. I'm super
Cute
excited.
cows.
Yeah. But we're taking a week after to just chill, and I do have Worlds in December, so I got to get back home to training. But yeah,
Mhm. Rocks and cute cows. That's all you need.
that's all I need.
That's a perfect.
Best of
thing.
everything.
Yeah. And Sean Woodland, who will be calling the event, has kind of mentioned this before, that it feels like this year, maybe the hierarchy of the Rogue Invitational might flip, where going to Texas stateside, CrossFit as a sport has deep roots there. It feels like now the order is flipping, like going to Scotland, strength sports, Highland Games, rich history there, that strongman and strong woman might be kind of taking the center stage there. Do you feel like, I don't know, do you feel like that may be the case, or maybe that this is an opportunity for you guys to really kind of hit the boosters there as far as your sport's concerned?
Yeah, I really, really think it's great for all of us. I think we can learn, grow, and be taught by CrossFit athletes and vice versa, and fans and vice versa. I do think strongman is going to take the percentage of fans in Scotland. I just think it's because of the nature of the Highland Games, and the brothers are from Scotland too. They're going to bring in so much fans. So I do think we have a little advantage, but I honestly, if you're a fan of sports, strength sports, you're gonna be a fan all weekend.
Yeah.
I don't do CrossFit, and I'm such a huge fan because it's just so fucking cool. It's so beautiful what they do, and same for our sport. And I just think it brings two different blood types on the field, but all for one badass title, and we're just gonna all be sweating and working so hard, and I think it's gonna be so cool.
Yeah. Oh man,
Knowing
giving me FOMO. I wish
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah. I know. I'm not going either, and I'm so bummed. Sean's the only one that gets to go and have all the fun.
I know.
How about
I know.
Do
you guys
you
could be
have?
my +1?
Oh,
Oh, I mean, Tommy's gonna have a newborn, but I
I'm
am
gonna have a
available.
newborn, so I can't
Oh,
go. Good reason,
that's a
but
good reason.
yeah.
Knowing that this is the first year that they're bringing Strong Woman, do you have a specific goal or like benchmarks that you want to pass in mind, or is it truly just to go have an experience and try to get this sport on the map to more people?
No, you couldn't have said it better. Like, I want to be there to literally mark the women's on the map, to make sure we are there to stay. We are loud. We're very amazing to watch. Beautiful. I just want to make sure that we put on a good show. I do obviously have some great goals for myself. Um, it's such a strong field. I don't expect myself to say, "Oh, I'm going to go out there and win," but I do expect you can expect a really good dogfight out of me. Being one of the smallest athlete, I won't give up. I know where my strengths are. I also know where my weaknesses, and that kind of puts me in a very middle ground athlete. And that's kind of just what I want to showcase. I want to represent my country. I'm so fortunate to be able to be the strongest woman in Canada and go out and represent at Rogue, even if it's only 3 weeks later. I put on my different hat and then I'm heading out there to inspire the women's here in Canada. And yeah, I just want to make sure that we're put on that map.
No doubt. And,
I
and
love
my
that.
last question, centers around competition. We talked about the dumbbell and your strengths there, but if any new fans of Sam Belliveau get to see an implement or something show up in the programming slate for the Strong Woman, what should they be excited about you getting to attack? Is there something you're looking forward to, or what should we keep our eye out for?
There's that overhead press medley, but there's a couple other things afterwards that are heavy. Like we have a heavy axle, but I'm feeling super strong. There's like the power medley, which is like the yoke to power stairs. I think
Mm,
that'll be a really good event for me. I'm also looking forward to putting a PR on my deadlift. First event of the weekend. I haven't
Nice.
PR'd in a long time, and I know it won't change much myself in the standings, but if I can gain myself a PR, I think that's a big win for me.
What's your
So
current PR?
yeah, 535. So I want five. Yeah, I think this third bar they changed it. It's 545, which would be a 10-pound PR. So I'm gonna hit that and be super happy. Oh,
heck yeah!
Hell
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. I love
yeah.
that. Oh, well, Sam, we really appreciate you taking the time to
Thank you.
chat with us, share more about the sport of strong women, share more about your journey and your role in the sport, helping grow in Canada and really worldwide as the sport starts to take roots in other places. Best of luck out in Scotland. We'll be cheering for you, and maybe have you on sometime in the future to kind of maybe reset for the rest of the year.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you guys want to book last minute flights, I'll pull out my futon.
Oh,
Um,
Oh, thank you.
No, but thank you so much for having me, and thank you for actually putting our sports out there and talking about us. I mean, exposure is really good. People need to see us out there and look what we can do. So I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
no
you
doubt.
guys are awesome. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Big thanks to Sam Belliveau for taking the time to do this, to do that. And I remember the thing that I remember the most about her, now, aside from her amazing performance on the dumbbell press, was the amount of gratitude that she showed every time that she stepped out on the competition floor at the Arnold Strongwoman Classic. And the other female athletes need to be included in that as well. They were all thanking the crowd, hyping them up, always saying thank you to people, taking time with the fans. It was really cool to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool hearing her just share the hype moment from
Mhm.
that like record-setting performance, but also seeing how she's like actively involved in helping grow and spread the sport within her community, right? Like her and Maxime Boudreau are at the
Mhm.
forefront of trying to grow the sport in Canada and doing really good work, hosting events and running that event. So, um, yeah, it's cool to see. It's nice to see strength sports grow, and I think this upcoming competition is a potential lightning rod for them.
For sure.
Yeah, paving the way for more opportunities, and she was awesome to talk with, and
Mhm.
it's
And
gonna be fun to see her at Rogue.
Yeah. So if you're a CrossFit fan who's going to watch Rogue, and maybe you don't watch a lot of Strongman, Strongwoman, first of all, watch it because it's a lot of fun. And there's so many parallels between the community aspect of everything, because when I first got introduced to Strongman, it was 2019. It was at the Arnold Strongman USA in Santa Monica.
Mm-hmm.
And it is crazy how welcoming that community is, how they will help you with whatever you need. It's as supportive as a CrossFit community, and it's fun to watch and check it out because they got some great characters and you're going to see some really cool feats of strength at the Rogue Invitational. And I've said it before, I actually think that the CrossFit competition, because it's in Scotland, might be the undercard to the Strongman, Strongwoman competition. It is so popular over there.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I think it was more of I think when it first showed up at the Rogue Invitational here, it was super cool because you had all those great implements out in the outfield of Del Diamond in Round Rock, Texas. It looked great, but I think a lot of people were sort of like, what is this? What's going on? And now you're going to have some and there were hardcore fans there, don't get me wrong, but there were going to be a ton of fans in Scotland. It's going to be fun to watch.